All horrified by this terrible tragedy in Orlando. There has to be a lot of reflection and a lot of planning as to what we can do if in fact it appears as though we've entered sort of a new age in terms of what we have to guard against. I really think that everybody has to think about the kinds of things that need to be done. You know, we have a convention coming, and there are people who would like to disrupt that convention. I would hope nothing along these lines, obviously, but we're just all going to have to be more vigilant. Of course, what we're all troubled by is this man had been under investigation on 2 separate occasions by the FBI, had threatened his workers, and I think that we're going to have to become more. We're going to have to put ourselves in a position of where when we see things like that, we're going to have to be more positive in terms of the actions that we take. What that will all entail would be something I'd have to think about and talk to public safety about. But you can't have somebody that's threatening their workers. You can't have somebody who has been watched twice by the FBI, who somehow, where there really isn't great pressure put on them, and particularly their ability to get access to any kind of a weapon. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not criticizing the FBI or criticizing anybody. I just know that this is a reality now that is different than anything that we've faced. And our hearts go out to all the families that have lost somebody. You think about you're a mom or a dad, or you're a sibling, or you're even a son or a daughter, and all of a sudden you get a call that some guy goes into a place where you're having fun, enjoying yourself, and they can't walk out. Probably part of it has to do with an ability to have better exits planned in all these buildings. This is kind of a reality of where we are, and we're obviously going to have to step up our game around this. So, questions, I'll take a few.
Governor, what do you think about states calling for bans on assault rifles?
No, I mean, look, I think that, you mean, which one? Just the AR-15? I mean, there's 50,000 others. I've been down this road before. You know, in regard to this guy, we don't really know everything. Some say he was bipolar, but if you're being investigated a couple times by the FBI, and you're also threatening your workers, your co-workers, I don't know why you ought to have access to a gun. Now, how we deal with that and how we're not capricious in it is something that needs to be looked at carefully. But this is more of a federal issue than it is the state of Ohio. It's got to be something that we all have to come together to take a look at. Look, if you're, you know, as I think it was said, if you're on the no-fly list, it's pretty hard to. Part of it is a security issue, because if you're on a no-fly list or you're on the terrorism watch list, if you go into a gun store and somebody says you can't have a gun, then we tip somebody off, because part of the effort is with intelligence to figure out the way in which we track people. So coming up with some little plan right now is not the way to do it. You've got to get everybody in the room and think about what's a reasonable way to proceed. So if you are on this terrorist watch list, or say you don't know you're on the terrorist watch list, right? And we want to track you to find out who you know, and then all of a sudden you go to get a firearm and they tell you you can't have one, what do you think you do? You go underground. So these are things that have to be thought through.
Will Perkins from the Dispatch. What specifically is your take on Donald Trump's response